Hi, everyone. My name is Akshay and I am interviewing for Some Things as a peer mentor. And I thank you again for the opportunity to do so. And for this interview, I'm going to be answering the following questions. What am I most passionate about and why? Personally, I'm passionate a lot about school and the various subjects that I'm involved with, and along with the extracurriculars I'm doing at the moment that suffice in keeping me more active and more ready to tack on any challenge. For example, not only am I a public health major, I also involve myself in many sports, such as martial arts, and I found it to be enjoyable pastime because I enjoy training for martial arts. I enjoy everything about it, and it helps me stay focused because that I have something to do on the side where I can hang out with my friends while still trying to stay productive in my schoolwork. And school is something you should prioritize as well, as it will benefit you in the future. The professional academic or extracurricular experience I am most proud of accomplishing is definitely like earning my degree in public health a couple years, 1 year ago, as uh, I was an engineering major in freshman year, but I decided that wasn't the path I wanted to go by, and so I worked diligently the following spring after transferring out of engineering to catch up to follow a guideline and graduate on time for 2025. And so at the moment, I am doing my master's in global public health, and I hope to be done by 2027 because of course registration. And so I'm proud of myself for accomplishing this because while still like maintaining a quota within for my own personal growth, in especially for sports, because it is a personal thing for me and I want to get good because I believe I'm not good enough, and that's a good thing to actually go by. You believe you aren't perfect, and so you strive to be, even though you won't end up being perfect. But then again, who really is? And that's something I've learned over time because I know that I make mistakes. I know I'm not great at everything, and I don't want to be great at everything. That's not really what I want to be. I want to be good at things that I like and things that give me entertainment and comfort. I think the most challenging experience I've ever been through was getting involved with the wrong friend group. So, long story short, this friend group basically traumatized me for about 1 or 2 years after a very hectic incident. And so, that past like 1 or 2 years, I'm gonna get kind of personal. I was majorly depressed, and I'm not gonna lie, it felt like I was just forcing myself to like carry on every day. I started like cutting out some people from my lives. I started being like kind of negative, or kind of like carrying on like an animostic tone in a way. Like, sure, I'll be nice to you, but I'll just probably won't care about you later on or something like that. It's just something I kind of had and something I've always noticed about others. And so like the thing is that with this friend group, I noticed that it wasn't getting me anywhere. And to answer into question four, that friend group really taught me that you really got to choose your friends wisely. You got to choose who you're really surrounded with. Like, you can just cut them off, but I feel like if you cut them off without giving them a reason to, or like giving them a good reason why you're just like leaving all of a sudden, it would just kind of cause more of a disturbance and make them want to reach out to you about it, which what they did for me. But in that kind of sense, I don't want to get too personal. It was a very intense situation that just kind of left me scarred for a while, and so it really just like made me change my view on the world, as like now I saw the world as like more dangerous. I can't really trust a lot of people, and that it's not perfect. While that can be true, the world is definitely cruel. Like, this is something what life is. Reality is harsh. Like, that is something you really have to just accept. Like, if you think that you're going to end up being like Bill Gates or someone on a higher level like Mark Zuckerberg or even Elon Musk. They have went to hardships too. It doesn't mean that you aren't either. Every everyone has a lot of hardships. It's not. Sometimes it's unavoidable, or sometimes you just are just born into it, and you just have to accept it. And what I've learned from a friend from the previous friend group is that you got to treat life like a deck of cards, and the hand you get is what you accept, what you have to accept, because it's pretty much all probability, and the chances of all this happening can be low, can be high, depending on the environment you're in. And so it is just your choice if you want to stay in that environment, and if you are ready to make a change for yourself. And so the personality and interest that makes me think I could resonate with teens as their mentor is that I was actually like bullied a lot in high school, middle school, pretty much like for a while. Like I didn't know I was being bullied, like because I was just laughing it off, just like jokes. But then like over time it got like way too far. I felt like I was getting ostracized for everything. Like everything I did, I was getting blamed. I Even though like I was just minding my own business half the time, it was just like I just wanted to just like end up it not I didn't want to like say this word, but it made me quite suicidal later on, because it wasn't just the people in my like high school, it was also even like my family sometimes. And family is also a huge factor, because you're around them like your entire life, if especially if they're your blood related family, or even like foster care homes, adoptive parents. Not every parent is perfect. I love my parents, don't get me wrong, like, but I didn't like the stuff back in high school, or back in like school and everything. Like now that I'm in college, I respect their authority, and I try to listen to them most of the time. And of course, we all occasionally fight with our parents. Like it's it's a given. Like you're going to and disagree with them, and they're going to disagree with you. You're gonna have a whole argument. There's gonna be a lot of yelling, a lot of shouting. But come on, in the end, can you really like hate someone you're like blood like related to? It's not right. And so that's something you have to learn, is that if you end up like actually suicidal and killing yourself, think about how others would feel. If you think that they want you gone, that's really not true. That was just at the moment, but it doesn't mean forever. Like think about this. Let's say like your younger sibling just does like this stupid joke on you every day, or just like annoys you. Over time, if they actually ended up passing away through like a any means, like including suicide, you're going to miss them regardless. And think about how hurt you would be. Like, you really think you can just accept that this person is gone? Like, I've had one of my best friends pass away a couple years ago, and it was impactful for me. And the people who are even more hurt are his parents and his older sister. And the cause of his death, I didn't want to believe was actually suicide. And so I didn't want to accept that was his means, but according to the obituary, it was. And that really did strike a lot of people, and a lot of my other friends as well. And so it definitely is not a fair circumstance. And so this is something I really want you all to learn as well, and what I want to teach these teens. And that I don't want to like bring up like serious topics off the bat. It's not right to just straight up just ask them about their suicidal ideation or anything. I think just building a personal connection and then easing my way into like learning about stories or traumatic experiences that left them feeling helpless or even hopeless in terms of like their situation. Sorry. The most complex project or situation I've ever solved was just having to get through a whole senior year just feeling like complete completely like exhausted. I was exhausted from the previous year because of what my friend group did to me, and so it was I had to force myself to stay productive throughout that year, and I'm actually very glad I did, because first semester I of my senior year I had to encounter a very interesting situation, and it was because of like internships and all that. And so I had to change my graduation date to the following semester, which was in spring 2025 for my bachelor's. And during that semester, spring, I had to go overboard. I was doing since I got into the accelerator program for school to do my MPH faster. I did around 3 grad courses as an undergrad student during my spring semester because it was eligible through the articulated program, and on top of that, I did an externship, and then I did an internship, and then I did a part-time job. Why did I do this? Well, it was just for my own like mental like health, and on top of that, I was even trying to still keep up my training for MMA practice because I was planning on getting into it after my internship contract ends. And so I was just like going about that semester. I was waking up early, getting things done, and then getting ready for work or class, and then having to do my internship work too. Thankfully, my internship was remote, but it still doesn't mean that it wasn't hard. Like I still had to like make a lot of like calls and everything. It was basically like a cold calling office off hospital job that was like for clinical research, and so just about like physician availability and insurance company research. And so another time when I had to set like my boundaries or say no to something, even though it was difficult, was that I had to like say no to um like a lot of like bad behavior, like such as like drinking or anything, because first of all, I'm not like a big drinker anymore. Well, I wouldn't say I was a big drinker before. I don't think you really should get into substances or alcohol, but if you are, please don't do it often. Is what I would definitely share with like a lot of the peer mentors, is that these substances are not going to help you. They're just going to make you change your perspective on a lot of things and make you think differently, and that's just going to impact relationships around you and make you feel even worse than your situation already was. And that's what something I want to say to people, is that don't succumb to peer pressure. Just uh, let let yourself understand what's going to happen if you try this. Is it going to be safe? Is it going to be uh, something you've always thought about doing? Is anyone else doing it around you? Do you trust it? Like, that's really the questions you should be asking, is that, do you trust this person, and do you trust what they're giving you? Do you think that this was their intention? Do you think that everything will be good? But no. What happens if you black out? What happens if you don't know? One of my friends actually had this, and unfortunately, she was, yeah, I don't want to get into that, but that is a very traumatic experience for anyone. And that's something I really want people to understand, is that you need to set your boundaries. Otherwise, people are just going to take advantage of you. And so the way to navigate that is just straight up to say no. Like, and if they still take advantage of you, just remember to take a voice recording. Because remember, for example, I'm in the state of New Jersey, and in New Jersey there is the law that you can still take recordings of someone or like publicly record as long as it's a one party consent and you're the one party. And so you can just record yourself saying no, the whole conversation, and you basically got yourself a lawsuit that you can use, and that would just benefit you in the process. So just if that ever happens, just say no, and if they keep pushing, say no, record, and if they end up doing it, you have that recording. And so that's something I wanted to share, and I don't want to get into too many details about it, but peer mentors are not necessarily like um, well, I chose to be a peer mentor in this case because I'm not necessarily trying to just be like someone's coach or life coach. I'm just trying to like really just tell someone that maybe like aren't you're really not the problem. It's really just like you're not thinking deeply enough about the aftermath. And on a scale of 1 to 10, how would I rate my current emotional regulation ability to intense and manage intense emotions? What helps me stay regulated? On a scale of 1 to 10, I would rate it a 7. But that's because, like, I'm not perfect. I wouldn't say I'm mentally stable or unstable. Like, I may have a lot of trauma. You don't know. I don't want to get into it. And that's just something I want to keep personal. Um, and so, what I want to share with that question is that what helps me stay regulated is just finding a hobby, and find a hobby that you can enjoy. It can be video games. It can be literally anything that is not illegal or will cause you actual trouble. Like, sure, um, you can use like recreational like drugs to calm yourself down, but that's just what that was. It's not like you're doing it, it's because of the effects. And so you just need to find something that you really would enjoy, like in terms of video games. Like, oh, you like video games, join a school club that has where kids or people play that same video game, and you can get along with them, make online friends that are real and or hopefully around your age. That's another thing to address. And in my case, what really helped was, well, not only video games at the beginning, but eventually sports like martial arts, because I got into martial arts um, since like 2 years ago, and I enjoyed it so much that it helped me spark create new friends and relationships, and I was a lot happier since then. And also, doing sports such as boxing allows me to regulate like my personal like anger issues. Like I have anger issues. That's something I will admit. But I don't like to hurt anyone. It's not something I want to do. I don't like hurting because it hurts me. Like, imagine like hurting someone. Like, for example, um your friend, your best friend like pisses you off, or your sibling pisses you off, and you like hit them like really hard, or you hurt them like really bad. I started like getting like really like sad afterwards. Like, and also it reminds me of this movie actually. It's called What's Eating Gilbert Grape. When in this scene, after Arnie ruined his cake and like made a whole mess, Gilbert wanted Arnie to take a shower, and Arnie was like refusing to listen, and so Gilbert got like really really pissed off, like really really mad off at Arnie, and like because Arnie wasn't complying with like getting into the bathtub and taking a bath, because Arnie was also mentally disabled too, and Gilbert was his older brother who was taking care of him since like birth basically, like, they've been like inseparable because they're like one of the only two guys in their household with a obese mother who never leaves, along with two other sisters, one older and one younger, and a mentally disabled brother, along with a father who is no longer in the picture. And so Gilbert uh, was just really mad at Arnie. Sometimes he even thought about what if Arnie was gone, but in the end, he still loves Arnie. You know, that's his family. But this what when he smacked, like really hurt Arnie in the face, like made him bleed. I actually felt like crying. Like, I don't want to do that to someone. That's just awful. And what made it worse was just how Gilbert felt after that. Like, he just hurt his younger brother. And that's like, imagine that was your younger brother, but as a baby. And then it's just like, it's so sad. It's so horrible. Like, I don't want to do that to someone. Like, I don't want to hurt someone to that point. Like, and what really like made me worse after that was that Arnie just didn't feel like he was hurt. He was just laughing. Like, he was just taking the hits and just because he was like also well, the actor was Leonardo DiCaprio, who did an excellent role as Arnie. When he like was getting hit by Gilbert and just like getting bloody noses and smacked in the eye and all that, and it hurt. Like, I'm not even sure if he was crying. It looked like he was just laughing a lot, and I'm not even sure if he understood like that he was just getting like mauled by his brother because he wasn't like listening to him. And that like really got to me. Like, I started tearing up. Like, oh man, that was like, I don't want to do that to someone. Like, I don't think you guys should either. Like, this is something I want to teach to peer mentors. Like, I'll even tell them to even watch this movie too, because it really struck me. And what has been the greatest change in my life, and how did it make me feel? I think the greatest change in my life was actually leaving that friend group from a couple years ago. A long story short, I was friends with them since freshman year of college all the way till junior year of college, and we were talking basically every single day. Like, maybe like one or two of those days I was just like inactive, but like I was basically like playing a lot of video games with them. I loved video games during that time, and but after what they did, I had to really like start focusing on my career and start focusing on my own personal growth, because there's no way I can just stay with them after this, and I can't just stay with them for the rest of like my life, because all they do is just play video games, and I just felt like they were holding me back. And so I left them, started just doing things for my own, and it became the biggest change in my life, because I wouldn't have ended up being this way. And I wouldn't say I'm glad that happened, but in a sense, it did like spark a new change that I'm currently satisfied with. But do I want it to be better? Yes. But do I want it to be worse? No. And so that's just something I want to teach to peer mentors, is that uh, as a peer mentor, is that you know you could be in a way worse position, like absolutely nothing. Like, think about this. I even like started like watching a lot of videos about drug abuse, and especially in Kensington, Philadelphia. Everyone in Kensington has barely a future left. Like, half of them are basically on fentanyl. Uh, a lot of them are drug abusers, criminals who just will steal your money for drugs. And I wouldn't say I would have ended up in that situation because of them. But I'm just giving an example of why why I chose this, because I wasn't, planning on just being this person for the rest of my life. I have to stay in college. I have to start focusing and not like disappoint like my family, because my family wants me to do good in life. They want me to succeed. But like, if I'm not proving at the time that I am, then how am I going to end up living on my own, um, or even like taking care of myself, or even uh, holding a career in the future? And that's just something a lot of people need to realize is, are they doing enough? Could they um, could they be better? But everyone could improve. I want to improve who I am right now. I have a lot of areas for improvement, and that's just something I want people to realize, is that you have a lot of areas to improve in, and you're not going to just do this in a day. You really think I got to this uh, in like a week? I spent like hours every single day just doing things for my own, like whether it be like working out for MMA, or studying for a test, along with just focusing on career such as jobs. I spend hours uh, trying to like apply for work, or even work on a lot of assignments, or just uh, if I have a current job, I would devote my time to it too. And it's just about like how you allocate your schedule. And I think that was the greatest change for me, because since then I started like becoming more resilient. I feel like I stand up for myself more often, but it depends on the circumstance. Not every battle is worth fighting for. If someone is just giving you a hard time for no reason, take a good look at it and see if it's worth arguing back. If not, just walk away. Some fights are not worth it, and it's better if you just don't get involved. I'd say try not to involve yourself in a lot of events that you don't think is going to have a great outcome on your life. Involve yourself with people who have a positive mindset like you. And thank you all so much for listening to my interview. I understand this was a very long video, but I hope you all uh, listened all the way and understand about my own experiences. And I want to be a peer mentor, because I think I will inspire a lot of teens. And I um I have basically lived in almost like their generation, and I understand a lot more of their generation, because my mind is more prone to more Gen Z alpha terminology, and a lot of like their like how their cliques work and everything. I understand this because I see it basically every single day. I either go to work or school. I know how people are. I know how people my age are. I know how people younger are. And it's sometimes over time when I talk to them, I get to get a sense of like who they are as a person, and how I can assist them. And this is something I would really like to do. So thank you so much.